How's it going? So this is a video on purging and releasing of dark energy. I've had I was at a ceremony I think around a month ago, and I had quite heavy, really heavy purging myself. Then I was at breathwork, holotropic breathwork only a couple of days ago, and again I had pretty heavy purging. So it's just to explain my thoughts and experience around the release of dark energy. Basically, if I use either word, they're kind of interchangeable. Purge, release, it's the same thing. So a purge or release is it's old energy that can be trapped within the energy field or within the body, and it can be released in a few ways, such as tears. It could be waves of joy, or just a kind of bubbling of emotion, a ripple of emotion through us, or it could be sadness. It can also, in medicine ceremonies, it can look like vomiting. You see people over head in a basin, they look like they're puking. But the difference between vomiting and purging is that vomiting, I would say, is it's a sickness. It's the contents of the stomach, whereas a purge, usually nothing comes out. It's just energy. I've purged in the past where I've kind of almost felt like the bucket would be full of what felt like coming up. It's like air. It's coming from the absolute pit of the stomach. Like the wall of the stomach. Unbelievable. And yet nothing would come up. It's just energy. Early on, about a year ago, I had my first ayahuasca ceremony, and I purged for the entire night. At that time, I saw a lot of demonic entities or energies, and I'll put a link below for that article about that. So over time, I would still believe that these things exist, but that they are of the light, and that they basically, we invite them. There's an agreement. They work with us, and they can be threatening and dark and aggressive, violent, but they're only energy. They are within us. Those of us, they're within, because we've invited them from a higher self, not from a conscious mind, and also because they vibrate with us. So if we don't vibrate at that level, these things cannot join us. Of course, 99% of people say, oh, I don't have them. Oh, I don't have any of them. I would be of the belief that everyone has them. They're in all of us. They're a part of us from all the lives we've been and all the things we've done. But obviously, to varying degrees, different people would have different types depending on what their journey is, what they're trying to learn. Initially, I didn't know why I had, as I'd purge these things, I'd see it. I'd feel its energy, how aggressive it was. But over time, I've started to have more awareness of the contract, of why they're there, the energy of them. I've been more aware of the almost personality. So in a sense, I wouldn't see them now as parasites, although I know this is contradictory, although they do sap our energy and they feed off our energy. The more of these things we have, the more our energy is escaping and is pouring into lower vibrationary stuff, anger or addiction or whatever destructive behavior or thought patterns or physical defects that we may have. So they are draining us. So the removal of these things, or the release of these energies, which are ourself, we manifest them as well, we create them as well. The release of them does free us up. It frees up our own energy, thought process, light, frees up the chakras, the heart, or whatever it is. So afterwards, when you release these, if you remove a tumor from a body, there's going to be a physical gap that has to repair itself, that has to heal. And these people that have like huge 10-pound tumors or whatever pound tumors, there's a huge void there that has to be filled. The body has to heal itself. The energy levels come back. So that's the same with these energies. When they're released, the energy field of the body, the chakras, my own being there's a void. And I can't think of his name now. I think it's Gabor Mate, could be wrong, wrote a book about the hungry ghosts. And I haven't read the book, but I'm quite aware of him and his articles and so on. And the term hungry ghost, basically, the hungry ghost, if you like, are these energies that feed on addiction, drug abuse, sugar, sex, anger, outrage, depression, whatever you want to call it. So when we remove these things, it's not necessarily the all clear that we're suddenly blissful and happy. There's still that void, and in the wiring of the brain, there's still the neural pathways and the mapping, the road mapping that took us to those places again and again every day of outrage or anger or addiction or whatever it is. So that was hardwired. So it was, we would quickly get to anger or quickly get to whatever state was our daily state of anger, addiction, or whatever it is. So those pathways are still there, and they need to be dismantled or broken or steered away from. So the energetic addiction or physical craving, if you like, may be lessened, may be removed, but the neural pathway is still there. So the mind might still go towards those thought processes. And so there's a bit of work in just self-observation, keeping our state of mind away, steering our thoughts away from that network, away from that map, that roadmap towards our destructive thinking, which leads to destructive behavior. And then quickly those neural pathways fall away and we rebuild, we rewire the brain into more constructive behavior. So there's the brain angle, but then there's also the energetic. Really, ultimately, we are all seeking, love. We're seeking peace and love. And we project that out in many different ways. So a lot of the rage and anger and addiction it's just filling that void, that hole where there is no love. So after release, then it is very important to nurture, to look after ourselves, to engage in healthy activities and self-love and good self-talk, not just say eating a nice meal. There are actions that are beneficial, but it's also an internal process. It's how we communicate with ourselves, how we think, to be gentle. So, on Saturday, I had quite a long, heavy purging session and quite intense. Not long as in hours, it was probably minutes, but it was unusual and it was very deep. And yesterday I really felt that void, felt a physical void almost, an energetic void in my chest area, my stomach. It's a time to nurture, it's a time to look after and to heal, to be gentle. That's how we fill the void. So that the path really to the new world, to the fifth dimension, is self-love, is about peace. It's about replacing all these habits, darker energy stuff with self-love. And there's so many distractions. A lot of people now think it's about waking other people up, saving other people, curing other people, healing other people. Really, it's all about, all these other people are just a reflection of ourselves. They're just a mirror of our own energy. So by turning the focus internally and healing, I don't heal other people. If people seek healing, I'm basically healing the energetic vibration within myself, which is reflected in them. If it wasn't within myself, they wouldn't come near me, they wouldn't contact me. Those are my thoughts on purging dark energy. I hope that was of interest. Please feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. I'll leave a link below, and subscribe to the channel, and enjoy your day. Thanks for listening.